life a lot easier.
True. All right, now let's get into the interesting stuff, the juicy stuff. So, I know you and I beforehand had talked about who was going to win the Oscars and what our thoughts were on the Best Picture. We had given a film review of Hidden Figures. We had talked about we talked about Arrival. We talked about a couple of movies, but we had this assessment early on that we thought La La Land might run away with everything. They didn't. Now, I did think in the end, no matter what had happened, I thought La La Land was going to win Best Picture, and the real reason why is because it's a classic Hollywood film. It's the musical. It's got the attractive guy, the production design, the music, the writing. Everything was classic Hollywood, and I thought Hollywood's going to eat this up. The Academy's going to eat this up. La La Land takes the win. Now, what happened Sunday night was just about the craziest thing I've ever seen on the Oscars watching it since I was a little kid.
By far top two craziest Oscar moments. That along with the streaking. There was one Oscars where someone streaked. But it was this Sunday was by far one of the craziest.
Insane. So if you didn't watch it,
if you didn't watch it.
Yeah, so if you didn't watch it, the Best Picture is always announced at the very end of the show. It's the last award given. So just as they're about to announce it, Warren Beatty and Faye Dunaway, who played Bonnie and Clyde in the 1967 movie Bonnie and Clyde, famous bank robbers, they come out to announce the winner of Best Picture. Now, Warren Beatty, a lot of people thought he was joking around. He's having trouble with the envelope. He looks at it, takes a look at the audience, then he looks at it again, and then he kind of hands it to Faye Dunaway, and she immediately goes, La La Land.
Let's back up. So here's actually what's really interesting about this whole thing, right? So
we didn't even say it. Moonlight actually won Best Picture.
Moonlight actually won Best Picture,
but it was because of a mistake on stage with the envelopes.
So what happens is that, obviously, people in the film industry have to submit their Oscar nominations at a certain time. Then the people in the Academy get to vote, and the only people that know the outcome of the winners are two people from PwC, PricewaterhouseCoopers.
Yeah. Yes.
And so these two guys have the envelopes and give them out to the presenters as they walk up on stage. So there's one on each side of the stage. Each of them have two of the same envelope just in case something happens to the envelope. Let's say one gets torn up, goes missing. There's an extra. So what happened, according to my understanding, was that as they were going up to present, they were handed the letter containing.
They were handed the duplicate of Emma Stone winning Best Actress.
And so you can see his face as he reads the award. He's really confused.
He's confused. He's like, whoa.
He's like,
and I think
I think he was showing it to her.
Like,
not.
Is it just me that's seeing this?
Is it just me that's seeing this? I don't think he was saying, I think we should say La La Land. I think he showed it to her saying, I'm confused. Are you confused too? Like if I were to see something that doesn't make any sense,
you would double check with me. You'd be like, yo, bro.
Look at this.
Yeah.
And I think she just saw La La Land on the card.
And she immediately read it.
She's read La La Land.
Yeah.
Now, there are a lot of people saying that this whole thing is fake.
And I thought that at the beginning too, but the more I've read into it, I don't think it's fake. It actually does make a lot of sense. As you said, so PwC for the last 83 years has been in partnership with the Academy Awards. And the guy that's in charge of it, I pulled it up, he's an accountant, Bryant Cullinan. And his main job the entire night is to focus on the envelopes and making sure that people get the right envelope to read out loud. So what happened was they told him, your sole focus, Brian, don't be on social media, don't be on Twitter, don't be on Instagram. Moments before this award was announced, he tweets out, Best Actress Emma Stone Backstage, #PWC. So maybe in that Twitter type-up, maybe in that moment of him being starstruck by Emma Stone, as you said, the two duplicates, he may have mishapped. He may have made a mistake because it makes sense to have duplicates. What if you lose one? What if something isn't handed properly? What if it's not written correctly? What if, anything could happen? So you always want to have a backup. But if your main priority is to make sure that the envelope gets into the right hands and is read correctly, this is just a huge mistake by PwC and by Brian Cullinan. And that's okay. Mistakes are made.
Mistakes happen.
But it's like, this is the biggest award show in the entire world.
The way it played out was just kind of almost cartoon-like.
It was strange.
It was funny.
So the producer that comes to the front.
Because because when the first time I saw him look at the card, and he didn't say anything, he looks down at the card again. He tries to reach into the envelope to see if there's another card saying if there's someone else. And he looks out to the camera. He looks back down. And people thought he was joking around.
They did.
I thought it was funny, honestly.
I did too. I was like, oh, Warren Beatty, you're being a funny old guy. And,
exactly.
Here's Faye with him. Like, Warren, stop, But I think what a lot of people started blaming Warren Beatty, and it wasn't his fault.
Yeah.
And I really like that he came out there and he said, guys, I'm sorry, but this is what I read. Here, it said Emma Stone, La La Land. I was confused, so I looked at Faye. I wasn't trying to be funny, even though it was. And then Faye just saw La La Land and read La La Land. So it's neither of their faults. It's not Warren Beatty's fault. So all the flack that he was getting is totally undeserved.
Exactly.
But it's just funny to me that you have the most important award.
He's a great actor, too.
He is, yeah. He's a legend. He's a legend.
People are giving him...
yeah, he's been around for 50 years acting plus, and he comes up there and he did the best he could. And I'm glad he didn't just go, hey, La La Land. I did say this, though, right after it happened. Let's say the presenters were Matt Damon,
sure,
and I don't know, Jennifer Aniston coming up there. I feel like they maybe not would have been as confused and would have said, we have the Emma Stone card. Can we get the correct one? But Faye Dunaway was so quick to just look at it and go La La Land, and I don't blame her because they're pacing you. They're telling you to hurry up.
They have a clock on you saying, hurry this up.
Yeah, they have a ticker in 30 seconds. Here you go.
And I think she just saw La La Land and she said, La La Land. And by the time she said La La Land, I guarantee you the people on the guys from PwC on both sides of the stage were like, wait.
Oh, yeah, they were freaking out.
Hold up. Because if you didn't see it, La La Land gets announced. The producers of La La Land and the cast of La La Land
make their way to the stage.
Make their way to the front of the stage. They get handed their Oscars, and then the stage directors come out on the front of the stage. Which I was looking into some interviews about what happened.
Dudes with the headsets come out.
The dude with the headsets come out, and they're never on stage.
Never.
They're never on. You're not supposed to see them.
No.
Right. They're
the ones running the show backstage.
They're the ones running the show backstage, and they're freaking out. So they run up onto the stage and they're collecting trophies back from the guys from the producers of La La Land, and to be honest, the producers were very gracious. I think they just quickly were like,
well,
hey,
okay, so the first two producers were, thank you guys so much, and then the third guy comes up and he goes, well, we didn't win, so, and then you went, what? And then the first producer who talked, I don't know his name, but he had the bald head and he had the beard. A very respectable guy. And he immediately goes, guys, we didn't win. There was a mistake. He goes, this is it. The real winner is Moonlight. And I thought he had great, I guess you could call it sportsmanship.
Sure.
And he just immediately said, you know what? And then Jimmy Kimmel goes, I wish we could just give awards to everyone. And the producer immediately goes, I'm going to be very proud to hand these to my friends at Moonlight. And I was so happy to see that the transition was so smooth, that they were okay with losing. Yeah. And I thought it was really great on the part of the La La Land producers, the way in which they handled it, because if I'm them, I'm very upset.
Correct.
But if you saw, did you see Damien Chazelle in the back?
It was insane. Did you see the people's
faces? He was like,
everyone
what?
was just, are you kidding me right now?
And then the cast of Moonlight's freaking out.
The cast of Moonlight is like, oh, we lost, and then they're like, oh my God, we won.
Yeah, Barry Jenkins is flipping out. Janelle Monáe's crying.
Here's what I thought was interesting about the whole thing. Here's what I meant to say earlier when it was kind of interesting. Right after La La Land was announced, the announcer says, this is La La Land's third or obviously it was like their seventh something like they you know how
it was announcing the grand total so far.
Grand total so far of how many Oscars it had won, and the music from the people who are downstairs in the orchestra start playing the music from La La Land. That means that literally no one knows who the winner is. Like, not even the announcer.
No.
The announcer doesn't have that pre-recorded.
No.
The orchestra is ready to play the winner of any of the movies, like their soundtrack at any time. It was kind of a weird insight into the whole running of or how the show is orchestrated in a way, in retrospect. In the moment, it was kind of crazy, but looking back on it, it was like, wow, this was just one big mistake that kind of snowballed into the very finale.
No, and like you said, it goes to show you that to the people that say that this was a setup, I'd like you to really look into it, because it doesn't make any sense anymore now that I've researched it. Because the only people, as you said, that know are the PWC people. And if you look on the guy's Twitter account, he's literally like keeper of envelopes and secrets. I mean, this is his job. So the confidentiality, involved with this is huge, because think about if you told one person that is working on the orchestra or the PA announcers or any of the backstage people, all it takes is one of those guys and one magazine source to offer them a small amount or a big amount of money and say, hey, can you give us a little bit of insight into who's going to win? This is super confidential. And it was just a huge mistake made by PWC. Whether or not they end the relationship with them after 83 years,
I highly doubt it.
I highly doubt it, but it sure made for a great Oscars. And next year that more people are going to tune in and say, well, did so-and-so really win? Yeah. I tweeted right after I put, Best Picture goes to La La Land, #Oscars, #alternative facts. Because it played right in, and they were making fun of Trump all night, and it played right into that, fake news, alternative facts thing. It was hilarious.
It was funny, but I ultimately, I did feel kind of bad for the cast of Moonlight.
That they didn't get to enjoy it right away.
That they didn't get, that they had to split their time, that it was kind of a chaotic moment. I mean, the one thing that I can say is that it'll be looked upon for a good amount of time, maybe for the rest of time, as one of the craziest moments of all Oscar history. So they will, that will maybe be their legacy.
Yeah.
But they didn't. I feel like it was just very, like, I think only 2 people spoke for Moonlight.
They just didn't have that much time. Barry Jenkins came up there and said, I loved what he said. He was like, to hell with dreams, man. This is real, and I'm going to accept this. And it was awesome. Crazy. Good for Barry. The movie was made for $1 million, and it's only grossed. It's the second lowest grossing film ever to win Best Picture, only besides The Hurt Locker with Jeremy Renner.
Yeah.
And I just felt so great for them, because last year you had all the huge controversy of, Oscar's so white, and, everyone nominated as white. All the movies are white people, and Spotlight is a movie with all white people. And then you had an Academy Awards where Best Supporting Actress, African-American, Viola Davis. You had Octavia Spencer nominated. You had Naomi Harris nominated for Moonlight. You had Denzel nominated. You had so many Africans-Americans really making up a large portion of the people that were nominated and recognized on that night. So good for Barry Jenkins, good for the cast of Moonlight, an all-black cast. And it just goes to show you that you don't need to spend millions and millions of dollars to make the best movie. Sometimes the best story with the great storyline and the great characters that really come to life is the one that comes out on top.